When Adventure Time first came out, I was amazed by its creativity. Now, I'm just saddened by its mediocrity.
Unfair things that often happens in the entertainment industry is the popular stuff runs way too long, while a lot of the smaller stuff like those random pilots like Korgoth the Barbaria, they just end up never being picked up, or some shows like Clerks, they only get 6 episodes. So lately I've been thinking about Adventure Time and how we've been getting so many mediocre episodes of this show, and it's just never going away. It's been getting less and less advertising. The schedule has been moved around more and more, but it stays there even though the creator himself isn't even directly involved with the show anymore, and many writers have actually left by now. And I'd imagine that the budget's probably getting lower too. I mean, regular show, they're ending. They're having their last season in like a dome or whatever, and because the writers on that show know when it's time to go. I'd imagine J.G. Quintel, he doesn't want regular show becoming The Simpsons, so he's ending it while it's good. And, you know, uh, Alex Hirsch from Gravity Falls, he didn't want that show to run very long. He only wanted 2 seasons, and that's all it had. It just seemed like it was longer because the episodes were so spread out. Because Disney just really didn't want his show to leave. But with Adventure Time, and I guess you could say SpongeBob too, but that's never going away. So there's no reason to wish for that. But you just want it to end while it's good. Well, I think SpongeBob it's starting to get good again because many of the old writers are back on and a lot of these new writers are on, and I think the show is actually starting to get a lot better. But I'll do a separate video on that. But I think Adventure Time it just needs to die because I was listening to this one podcast where the guy brought up, the Rolling Stones. They would put the Rolling Stones at the top of the list in their top 10 list, but you have to take into account those 30 years of bad albums that the Rolling Stones did. And I think Adventure Time is kind of like that. You have to judge the entire catalog, and if you're not judging the entire catalog, you're obviously just doing it like one by one. But when people look at a show, they commonly they look at all the episodes and then they kind of generalize the show as in every part of it. So the Rolling Stones aren't as good as everyone says just because they had like 30 years of bad albums. They're not as good, but they were very influential, and that's kind of what Adventure Time did, because Adventure Time, it showed up when CN Real was about to die, and then when it showed up, it changed everything for Nickelodeon. It changed everything for animation in general, because there really weren't a lot of new and astounding shows like Adventure Time coming out, and thanks to Adventure Time, we got shows like Harvey Beaks, we got shows like Steven Universe and Gravity Falls that have just completely changed the game, and it's all because of Adventure Time. And so I think we have to appreciate the show on that level, but at the same time, you want it to end while it's good, and I think we've already passed that point to where it could have ended while it's good. Now we just need it to end because it's become completely mediocre, repetitive, dumb, and derivative. So, yeah, Adventure Time, it needs to go away. They have not advertised it for a while, so I think that's a sign of it going away. But Adventure Time merchandise is still very strong, and the show's still being made, so I don't know if it's ever going to go away, but Cartoon Network, they're good about quality. And I think in the next maybe year or two, Adventure Time is going to be gone. And I just wish it could have ended earlier when it was good. But as long as they're selling that merchandise, there it's probably going to be staying around for quite a while. But I think a lot of people are going to not appreciate the show as much just because there were so many episodes that were so bad. And it really is a wonderful show that should be appreciated for everything it did for animation, because without Adventure Time, you know, things would be a lot different. And I was just thinking about if Nickelodeon picked up Adventure Time back when that pilot came on there. Wow, what if Nickelodeon picked them up? I know Adventure Time, if it had the same success as it did with Cartoon Network, they'd be running that show for the next 20 years like they've been doing with SpongeBob, you know? I mean, in 2019, we're already getting SpongeBob the Movie 3. So, yeah, I mean, some shows, they just go on forever and they need to give somebody else a shot. And I think Cartoon Network is fizzling out the show. Like I said, they're advertising it a lot less. They barely ever show any reruns anymore. I remember when I used to go on Cartoon Network, there'd be um, uh, Adventure Time and regular show all the time. Now they mostly just rerun Teen Titans Go, which I wish there would be a little bit more variety in there, but I like Teen Titans Go. So yeah, I think it's gonna fizzle out in the next 2 years. I mean, they were smart with regular show, and they said, okay, it's time for this show to go, and hopefully J.G. Quintel can work on something else and make something that's just as good, if not better, than regular show. And I'm excited to see what he does next. As for Pendleton Ward, same goes for him. I'm excited to see what he does next with all this Adventure Time money he has and all this name fame. So, yeah, Adventure Time, it needs to die. And thank you all for watching. I appreciate